and I can just see a couple of people are logging on and those sorts of things. So we're just going to give us a moment or two of grace while people get their technology stuff working for them. And I will be back momentarily. So if you have not already, please do me a couple of favors. Number one, go get yourself a beverage of choice. Mine is coffee today. Go get yourself a beverage of choice. Make sure that you have something to write with or a clean sheet of note paper or a clean document to type with. And we'll get moving and shaking momentarily. Talk soon. Hello and welcome. As people are coming in, just let you know that I see a few people logging in here. We're just giving a moment or two of grace to get moving and shaking before we get rolling. So get yourself a drink and something to write with or a document open, and then we'll get shaken. Alrighty, gang. There we go. Alrighty, gang. So we are almost raring to go here. And I just want to make sure that, number one, welcome everyone. I am totally excited. I have been working like mad on getting packed and putting details together for our weekend together in Vancouver, which is going to be completely and utterly outstanding and awesome. And what I would love to do is this, gang, is just take a brief moment over in the little chat window. So if you're not familiar with Zoom, I'm just going to give you a 2-second little rundown here. If you're not familiar with Zoom, down at the bottom, there's a little button that says chat. If you type on that little chat window, you will see that Rob has said hello, everyone. And do us a favor, please just type in your name and say hello. Tell us where you're from. Would love to know what kind of joint venture stuff you are working on. And I just want to remind you while you're doing that, that our purpose with our pre-event calls is to really serve and support people to answer any questions related to our roadmap, the preparation activities. Hey, Valentina, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. So good to see Reg, man. It has been an awfully long time. When I saw your name that you were coming, I was like, yahoo, Reg is coming. It's been far too long. Quite literally, Reg, just in terms of fun and weird entertainment, Mike Finch is on his way over to our house right now. And I know you guys have done some JV work together in the past, as I understand it. Spot on digital marketing here. Hello, hello. Yes, it has been a while. Fantastic. So again, just to recap, our purpose here is to help people get themselves ready for getting the most out of the JVology live event, which, you know, there's a whole variety of pieces. We've sent you a bunch of emails asking you to do some research, asking you to reach out, sharing with you what we call JV one sheets, all the rest of it. And today what I want to do is this, is I want to create a brief opportunity to, number one, answer any questions about anything that I have, number one, that I have sent you in terms of the prep process. I want to make sure that you have any other questions related to the event handled. I want to review the JV one sheet, because just because we emailed you something doesn't mean that you actually opened it. And if you did open it, doesn't mean that you actually read the darn thing. So I want to review the, oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. The JV one sheet piece that each of you should be, depending upon your stage of development, each of you should have something like that ready. And then just make sure that you are raring to go with all of the details handled. So here's how that's going to look, is if you have a specific question, what I'm going to ask you to do, hey, Bela, thank you, by the way, for the connection for the interviews. I'm interested to see how all that's going to shake down. So here's what I'd like to do is this, is we're going to start very briefly. and we got everybody sort of introduce themselves, fantastic, with an opportunity to answer any specific questions that you have related to the joint venture roadmap that we sent you in terms of some of the assignments, doing some research, reaching out and targeting some of your bigger players. So if you have any questions about that stuff, that's all well and fine. And honest to goodness, if you have any questions about anything else, that's all well and fine. And I'd like to start there. So get those typed into the little chat window. And while you do that, I am going to share with you a strong suggestion. Now, if this isn't for everyone, by the way, but for those of you who are ready, it's really a brilliant idea. Okay, so just to be clear about this, gang, you should be looking at and you should be seeing, make sure I've got my chat window up. You should be looking at and you should be seeing a document that says the Mastermind Roadmap live stream. And if there is anything, if you see that, please give me a hell yes, so I know what's going on. Yes? Okay, perfect. And Bela, I will answer that question. I'll unmute you momentarily. And by the way, the rest of you, pop your questions in there so I know who's who and what's what, and I will unmute you and we'll have a conversation as we head towards that. So here's one of the things that I want you to prepare as much as you possibly can. Hey, Tony, here's the thing. If you have a program, now that could be a digital online program, that could be a coaching program, that could be a live event, that could be a webinar, that could be a podcast, that could be any sort of platform. One of the things that just makes it easy for us to keep track, and keep in mind that you're going to have, frankly, more JV opportunities in the next 3 days than perhaps most people have in a year or a year and a half. And that is not an exaggeration in any way, shape, or form. So one of the ways to help people keep track and to log what they're working on and all the rest of it is for you to have some form of a JV one sheet. Now, I want to be very clear about this. It does not need to have all of these details here. But for those of you who have an offer, you are ready to actually engage a joint venture support partner or joint venture support partners, give me a hell yeah in the chat window so I know who's in that spot. And I know not everyone is. We'll talk about that as well in our little call here. But if you are ready to engage partners, give me a hell yeah. So Bailey, hell yeah. Nice. Who else? Tony is fantastic. And by the way, it's working on it halfway through. Valentina, appreciate that. Michelle, I have an idea. Okay. I have an idea, not 100% sure. Fantastic. That's all good. And here's the thing I want you to recognize and to understand, gang. And I'm going a step ahead here. Top of the list is that to really get great in the JV world, you don't need an offer. You don't need a program. You don't need a workshop. You don't need a live training. You don't need an online product. What you need is to be a great joint venture partner. And if you start from that perspective, you're going to learn the ropes. It's going to accelerate you tremendously. So if you're not ready, that's totally fine. I'm going to talk about that as well in our time together here today. So here's the thing. If you are ready, what I'm going to ask each of you to do is to prepare just a simple one sheet. And I want to just review the highlights of what a one sheet should have, and it is not particularly complex, but I want you to be clear about it. And by the way, any of you who have other questions, Valley, you're going to have to correct me to make sure. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. But once we get there, you have your question first in queue. Anyone else, pop them in here so I know what's going on. So here's the highlight. If you're going to do a one sheet, you start with, of course, what is it for? And you might think this is kind of crazy, but time and again, it's like I see people say, it's like, hey, let's JV, but they don't provide a specific pathway. It's like, well, we could JV on my coaching, or we could JV on my new book, or we could JV. It's like, make it easy for people. So here's the guiding principle for this is choose one specific joint venture project, and that's what goes on the page. Do not give the 792 things that you could do. Ask for support on the one that you are ready to receive support on. So in our case, that's the Mastermind Roadmap Livestream. So we've got a big program coming up in Phoenix. That is September 15th to 17th. And one of our primary methods of enrollment is a 3-hour live stream that we did teaching some of the fundamentals of masterminds. So the support we want is, shock of all shocks, the Mastermind Roadmap Livestream. Now, so you choose the one piece that is imperative. Now, the next piece is give them like a couple lines of what we're talking about here. So it's a kick-ass live stream that educates, inspires, and sells a 30-day mastermind roadmap that includes a ticket to Mastermind 2 Millions Live, and is simply the most powerful and valuable support available in the mastermind training arena. And here's one of the great pieces for us, and something that I would ask you to think about when it comes to joint venturing, is what is what is the joint venture program, or what is unique about what you are up to? And for those of you that are working on it, so for example, Michelle, Valentina, is what you're working on genuinely unique? And here's the thing I want you to understand is that if there's 1,700 different joint venture offers for, and I'm just going to say speaking, just because I have a couple of friends of mine who do that, what is unique about yours? And if I have all of these opportunities to connect my tribe with speaker trainers, what is the reason I'd come to you? So we happen to have a pretty fortunate stand in the whole mastermind universe, which is we have, number one, the most experience in the industry with almost 30 years. We've trained more people than you can shake a stick at. And at this stage of the game, we've sort of cornered that market. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. When we say it is the best and the most powerful and most valuable support in the arena, it's true. There's no one else that comes close. So I hope that makes some sense to you. Now, the next piece is this, and this is imperative. Our target market. We want to be able to communicate quickly to our potential JV partners. Is there a match on the list? And if there's not a match on the list, it's like, hey, it's all good. Have a marvelous day. How can I support you? And maybe there's some segment of my list that I could support with. But if you don't get to that quickly, so what it is in the match, you're probably lost. Give them specifics about promotion dates. Honest to goodness, I have many partners that are booking into mid-2018 already. So this takes some perspective. So, honest to goodness, gang, in terms of JVology Live, there's people at every single level. But I can tell you this, is the more advanced they are in the JV world, then here's the other piece to it, is the more difficult it is to get on their schedule. They need more lead time. They need more flex time. They need more resources. So just keep that in mind. And then just talk a little bit about, the topic of what's going to happen in the actual training. Give them a little bit of details about what the offer is. Give them the price of the program and what sort of people have done what sort of things. So, it's $197 refundable seat deposit in the case of Mastermind 2 Millions Live, and almost 40% of them upgrade to VIP between $297 and $397. You earn 50% commissions on the seat deposits and VIP tickets. And you get $1,000 for anyone who purchases one of our premium offers at the Mastermind 2 Millions Live program. So you want to be very clear about what this means to them. And I want to be clear in terms of one of these elements, because sometimes people get, how do I put it? Well, they get cheap at the front end is what happens. So I want to just articulate what I mean by that. So notice that the $197 refundable seat deposit is that means that somebody says, yes, I'm coming. They're going to put $197 down. When they get to registration, we're going to give them $197 back. But we still pay commissions of 50% of the seat deposit to our referral partners. So what it actually means is that we are quite literally paying people to attend, and we are paying people to actually promote for us. Now, sometimes people are like, well, if it doesn't make money on the front end, why would you bother? Well, here's the thing. When you get mature enough in terms of your offers and you know what your numbers are, it's a very simple calculation, which is I know for the number of people who show up at my live event, what they are worth approximately per head based on doing it 3 or 4 times. So then you got to just figure out what's fair, what's equitable, what's inspiring, what actually compels people to participate. Then we give them overall stats, opt-in conversion rate, which is 65.73%, revenue per lead, 19.35%, and affiliate earnings per click, 12.77. Now, you may or may not have that information if you're just starting out. That's totally fine. Don't make stuff up. This, by the way, of course, is what we are sharing, and everyone here recognizes and realizes that these are our highest. Okay, that's the highest. So we're doing a little bit of a sales job and say it could be as high as this. But that depends on list match. That depends on timing. That depends on endorsement from the JV partner. That there's a multitude of things that depend. But this has happened, and it could happen again. In this case, we did an interesting bonus, is that because they're working on these live streams, and actually, Reg, our mutual friend, Mike and I are actually, we've built a live streaming studio in partnership with another organization here in Calgary. And we want to do more and more live streams because we believe that, in the same way as telecalls or telecoaching was replaced by webinars, and webinars will ultimately be replaced by live streams. So as a bonus, we're going to give them a 3-hour live training on live stream production, creation, engagement strategies, because this is where some of that whole world is going. And we'll also give them a little one-on-one program design consultation. So if somebody gets behind us, there's another huge bonus. And I want to be clear about this. In the process of the one sheet, lots of times in getting started, it's like, well, what do I have that's of value to, my clients? What do I have that's of value to my potential JV partners? Get creative. Notice that this whole support process here has little or nothing to do with the actual offer. It ties to the mechanic by which we are engaging people. So here's my assignment to you, gang. And then, of course, do whoever is going to be handling those conversations. If that's the case, then you simply get those contact numbers there and away you go. So if you are ready, gang, I want you to get one of these things or a reasonable facsimile, one of these things ready for you to hand out, to share with the proper people. Don't be stuffing in people's hands inappropriately at the event. It will give you a ton more traction and frame some of the conversations when there's the correct match. Okay. Now, before I tackle any of the other questions that we have, are there any specific questions? I'm just going to stop sharing this so we can get back to where we were. Are there any other specific questions? And all you need to do is, let me just, I think I got to manage the mute thing here. Give me a second. And gang, you can just unmute yourself and ask any questions that you have related to the one sheet for starters, and then we'll dive into the other Q&A as well. Going once, going twice. Hey, Tony, in terms of confirmed numbers, those sorts of things, we're going to be somewhere between 55 and 75 people, depending upon show up rate. So yeah, if I were you, in terms of bringing one sheets and those sorts of things and matches, I would probably bring 50. Not everybody's going to be a match for your particular offer. No other questions about the one sheet? We're all clear? All right. So Bela, I'm going to unmute you and I'm going to ask you to ask that question again, and I will do my best to support.
What was my question?
It says, I have a question about selection of JV partners.
Yeah. This was in doing the exercises from this weekend. I've run into this before when I was doing some of the Iman's classes. So I sit with a list of people who I know are influencers, and I look at them and I think, well, what is my criteria for selection other than I know that they present their material to entrepreneurs or business owners who could be similar targets for me. But other than that, I have no idea of their capacity, in, like you said, in terms of when they might be able to help, or whether they would be interested, in a little flea like me, or whether what other kinds of criteria do you use when you're looking to make just like a top 5 list?
Great question. Love that question, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to rattle through a bunch, and we're actually going to go through this in much more depth and detail on the weekend. But I'll rattle through my initial filtering list. And here's the top of the list is this. They are JV literate. One of the biggest issues in the universe about bringing on a great JV partner and a long-term relationship is that lots of people still don't have a freaking clue what we're talking about when we talk about JVing and being a great JV partner. So that is the top of the list. And how I do that is number one, I get on their mailing list. I watch their promotions. I watch to see who promotes them. I watch to see if they've ever done any sort of bonuses. I participate in any of their joint webinars, so I get a sense and a feel for the people I really want to work with. So JV literacy is absolutely the top of the list, because honest to God, outside of what we do for training, I don't have time to train my partners on a one-on-one basis. It's just crazy. So that's number one. Number two is this. And this is around here, we call it the wine and ping pong test. And the wine and ping pong test is actually one of the most important tests in the universe. And it really boils down to this, is that would I, and we use this very specifically for the JVology Summit. So the people who, that's a hand selected, very small, well-filtered list, people ready to move and shake. And I know that you're a student of Aman's. Aman has been, I think, to 3 or 4 of them. But they have to pass, if they're going to come to that event, they have to pass this test of, would I invite them to my house to have a glass of wine and to play ping pong? Like, do I actually genuinely like them? And if I do genuinely like them, that's number 2 in terms of the filter. Because having the world's biggest list and not being likable to me, and I'm a fairly easy guy to get along with, I can just tell there's going to be friction with my team and with my tribe. I'll give you, are you familiar with Mind movies?
No.
Okay. Well, there's a gentleman who, his wife, Natalie Ledwell, is the most charming woman in the universe. She's a member of the Association of Transformational Leaders with me. We did a conversation. It's like, yeah, let's do something. She's like, my filtering criteria was like, yeah, that's great. And then and she says, but my ex-husband, Glenn, handles all of the details. I'll just hook you guys up and I'll just say, you and I've already decided we're doing this. It's like, fantastic. Well, I spent about 20 minutes on the phone with Glenn, and it was one of the most transactional, painful, annoying conversations of my life. And it's like, there's no way he'd be at my house drinking wine or playing ping pong. So we didn't pursue it. So that piece is unbelievably important for me. Now, not everybody has that same filter, but I do. So they know what they're doing. They're absolutely likable. I think they're going to connect with my tribe. Number 3, will they and can they match up properly in terms of the offer? So, for example, there's lots of people that get through the first 2, but the offer doesn't match for their tribe. So, I'm just thinking off the top of my head of Laurel Langmeyer. So Laurel Langmeyer runs a really fantastic mastermind. It's called The Big Table, and she is eminently successful with all the rest of it. But the people at her mastermind aren't really interested in running masterminds. They want to just participate in a good one, which is all well and fine, but the match doesn't happen. So then I go to match is the 3rd one. Here's the 4th, accessibility. Can I get in the same room with them? Can I get a endorsed introduction? Can I get a dedicated time where that person and I can truly talk nuts and bolts about this working? So that's number 4. And then here's number 5, and this took me a long time to learn. Will that person share who actually does the work on their team? Because getting a yes from the mover and shaker doesn't mean a damn thing until it gets connected to the person who has to click send. It gets connected to the person who has to set up the affiliate link. That's where the deal happens. So those are 5 of my other criteria in terms of how we go to the next step. Does that help?
Yes, very much. Yeah. Now I don't recall. There was a wine and something on that list of emails you sent this week. Wine
conversations and cash.
That's not the same as the wine and ping pong.
No, it's not.
I haven't had a chance to get to that one yet.
Now, usually wine and ping pong leads to cash. However, it's a very different piece. So we're actually going to teach you this process. We use it in, virtually in all aspects of our business, but it's actually a piece of content for our Launch Your Mastermind 90-Day Bootcamp, our premium lead program. That is a way of establishing and contributing value to the network of people that we would like to engage in some way, shape, or form. That could be as mastermind members, that could be as joint venture partners, that could be as community members, that could be, you insert the blank. But we're actually going to give you a sample of that and teach you the process this weekend so that you can take that manual and go and do it in your life and in your world, targeting specifically joint venture partners that you want to build long-term relationships with.
That just brings me to a very quick other question, because I had signed up as an affiliate for your other programs, and I'm kind of getting a little confused with all your programs. So who would be the best person to speak to on the weekend to get a really clear rundown of what I'm actually promoting?
That will be Rob, most likely. And one of the things that we're also going to do, because we want, and I think that I'll probably be able to solve this from the front, is that I'm going to wager that you signed up to be a JV partner for this event, correct?
And the mastermind, the other one.
Okay.
And that's where I got confused right there. And then when I went into the mastermind stuff, I was like, okay, I'm not sure what I'm actually looking at, like a live stream of this and that, but then there's something else, and then there's something else. So that's where I got kind of, I distinguish between this event and the others, but it's the second future events that was getting kind of confusing.
Yeah, totally understand. So one of the things that we're going to do that's going to be a ton of fun, as part of the teaching process of what it means to set up a campaign, what it means to be a great partner, all the rest of it, is I'm actually going to spell out exactly what Mastermind to Millions Live is, how people can play with the roadmap. And my objective is to teach that process and actually pay people money this weekend when they understand how simple and easy and cool it can be. So I will outline all of that and you'll know exactly how those two things work. But yes, it is a challenge, and we're going to talk about tools and resources and all those sorts of things. It is a challenge when you have a, our particular tool of choice is called Infusionsoft, but multiple campaigns, when people sign up for multiple campaigns, it can be damn confusing. But, and truthfully, it's confusing for us internally in terms of keeping track of everything. So we'll spell it all out and we will draw it all out. And as Rob was just saying, we also will have a coaching zone or event where coaches can answer those sorts of questions for you as well. But it will simplify it very easily.
Awesome. Thanks. That's it.
Thank you. Great questions. And by the way, I just want to say thank you again, because, may I just, first of all, say your name again, because I want to make sure I get it right. That
Bela.
It is Bela. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Bailey. It's fine. Yeah.
I always want to add a little Bailey in there. I want to. so if I could just use you as an example for a brief moment.
Yeah, sure.
So everyone.
Right. Is it a good example or a bad example?
I guess we'll find out. No, a great example, as a matter of fact. So Bela did something that was really quite fantastic and very consistent with all of the assignments and all the little videos that I've sent you in terms of the roadmap, which really boils down to this: is be valuable, make a contribution, do something meaningful for your joint venture partner, become relevant to them in some way, shape, or form. And one of the cool things that Bela did was she asked me, "Is like, would you be interested in media?" And it's like, well, yeah, if the timing's right and all those sorts of things, I'm always interested in media. That'd be fantastic. And Bela followed up and actually arranged all the way through to somebody saying yes at an editor of something or other for an interview, and followed that all the way through. And I just wanted to acknowledge you for being a living, breathing example of exactly what we're asking people to do: is become relevant, make a contribution, do something meaningful for our JV partners so that they see us, they recognize us, and they care about how to say our name. When that happens, things change.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I, it's funny, when I first started, when Iman brought JVology concepts into class, and I thought, what do I have to offer? And it wasn't really months later that I thought, you know what, I can offer anybody strategies on getting into media. I can even offer direct introductions. I can even get them interviews. I can even do the interviews. It was pretty silly when I thought about it afterwards that it hadn't occurred to me that that could be my JV offer. But at the same time, sometimes it does feel awkward just reaching out to a cold prospect and saying, hey, would you like some media coverage? Because if I were to receive that, I would be like, where's this person coming from? I've never heard of them before. Why are they offering me media coverage? So that's something I hope to get out of the weekend, just to get more familiar with how I can leverage my access to media in order to build those JV relationships.
Yeah. Do you know a woman named Geeta Nadkarni of Baby Got Booked?
I don't know her personally. I know the material.
She has some really interesting strategies that I helped put a couple of those pieces together with and for her, and I'm happy to share a couple of her high-level strategies. But I mean, in a nutshell, what she has done stunningly well is appeal to people's ego and desire to be, famous for 15 minutes or see themselves somewhere, and then find out from a variety of media outlets what they really want and play matchmaker. And that's a magical combination from the perspective of joint venture. It's magical.
Yeah, I hope, as I said, I hope I can leverage this quite a bit more, and we can talk more on the weekend, I guess.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And yes, bring questions, ideas. We'll support you every way we can. Thank you for the great question, by the way.
Awesome.
All right, Mr. Reg, I see your question. I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to answer, then you can clarify anything else that is significant to this. So,
oh yeah, thanks, Jay. Yeah, and hi, Mike. But yeah, I've been retired a little more than a year now, and in that year, I've been developing all manner of stuff to the point where we're confused about, okay, we've got this and this and this. What the heck do we focus on? And as I told Mike the night I met him, I'm not that keen on marketing. We're backroom boys, if you like. Not exactly, because we like to do presentations and teaching too. So to put it mildly, we're confused. Where do we go?
Well, you won't be the only ones in the room in that manner. And I think, as you well know, is that confusion comes and goes based upon our clarity and how well an offer is accepted. So here's what and I don't know all of the ins and outs of all of your business, but as you say, software, web design, video production, online presentations, teaching, all of those things. So here's the essence of it from my perspective, is that you're looking for people who are resellers of your skills.
Correct.
Yes. So to me, this is actually a pretty simple and easy one, is that anyone who is serving, supporting coaches, consultants, any of those things, is that this could make for a great integrated offer. And I'll give you just a brief example of something that we are doing with the streaming studio. So we are setting it up where there are platinum partners. And a platinum partner quite literally gets to say that they are a part owner, and they are, of this studio, and that they have preferential access to this studio for streaming purposes for their clients. So if we're marketing a turnkey 3-hour program, written, produced, directed, distributed, all those sorts of things, we're marketing that for $7,000. A platinum partner can market that for $5,000 and still make about a 20 or 25% affiliate commission. Now they are authorized, sort of certified and licensed resellers that we call a platinum partner. So you could have platinum partners for your web design. You could have platinum partners for your video production. You could have platinum partners for any of those pieces, so long as what you're doing fits within the model that the coaches are teaching, or fits within the model that the consultants are teaching. So you're really looking for people that have a component of that model as a part of their teaching model, or as a part of their teaching curriculum. Does that make sense?
Yeah. In fact, it's funny. We're doing I'm just developing a training course, and we want to talk to universities and colleges about presenting it. And it dawned on us belatedly, oh, that's a JV. I didn't really realize that. So.
It just takes a little bit of different way of thinking of it. I had a conversation with, I won't say who it was, but it made me smile. He's a publisher, has a newspaper, all the rest. And it's like, I invited him. It's like, oh, no, I don't do JVs. It's like, well, I thought you did. Describe your business. And then he goes on and he lists like 4 very high level, very sophisticated joint ventures, which are the core of his business. And it's like, well, my friend, that's actually joint venturing. It's like, oh, no, that's a different thing. All right. That's okay. So here's the thing. Look for embedded opportunities, and I'm going to just give you a little hint. So we're in the process of working with IPEC, which is a large coaching organization, and we're going to embed our Mastermind Essentials program, quite frankly, for free in their core content. They get to claim the space of they're the only coaching school that has certification in the mastermind realm to move from one-on-one coaching to one-to-many coaching. So they get a sort of unique positioning in the marketplace. We embed our content in their training. I do a couple of Q&A calls with them. And then if people choose to go further with the mastermind training, then they get a percentage and we get a percentage. So that's a high level JV into the strategic partnership arena, but it's still a fantastic JV. And what you're describing in terms of tech resources and those sorts of things, perfect fit.
Yeah, actually, just for the record, we don't mind giving away stuff to get started, of course, that, like you've been talking in a lot of your material that I've been reading. So that sounds like a good fit, actually. Thank you.
So I'm just going to suggest to you, Reg, particularly when you're confused and overwhelmed, what is the most compelling offer to get your foot in the door? So is that compelling offer a little bit of education around video? Is that compelling offer a little education around web design? What's the most compelling piece you've got? And that's what I'd love you to lead with in Vancouver.
Yeah, actually, for the record, I won't be able to make it to Vancouver. There's no room at the inn there, but I think I'll see you in that winter session down south, hopefully.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry I'll miss you.
Which reminds me, you said to get some stuff ready to present there. Can that be done online if I don't go there in person?
No, the whole thing.
All right.
It is in person only.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah, that's good. Those are good suggestions, Jay. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, brother, and we will miss you. Talk soon.
Okay, ditto. Bye.
All right. So Michelle, I'm coming your way. So the core of the question, Michelle, and you're welcome to tweak or make any additional comments with it, is how important is it to give a free offer to which JV partners can drive to their list? Is this the only way? Well, you know what? It's absolutely not the only way, Michelle, but it is a way that is simple and easy. And if you think about it from this perspective, is that, and we're going to talk a lot about this in terms of JV partners, which is this, is it's your job to make your JV partner look good, okay? So if you can give something for free, if you can give great value, and I'm your JV partner, and I can say, hey, my friend Michelle did this, and it is a exclusive offer. It is something that is really fantastic, and I think you should take advantage of it because it can change how you look at your business, or it can change your life, or it can, depending on what your arena is. So the easier you can make your JV partner look great, the better it is. So a freebie, like I'm going to use the Mastermind to Millions live roadmap. So it's a free 3-hour live training. If you just did the live training on its own, you'd know more about masterminds than most people who are delivering them. I'm exaggerating slightly, but not by much. Then we say for $197 seat deposit, you get 30 days of training. You get 3 incredible training manuals. You get 3 live coaching calls. You get a mastermind with my team and tribe, and you get a complimentary ticket to the live event. It's like, it's virtually overwhelming for free. So we get to make this monumental deposit, and we get to have our JV partner say, look, I happen to know Jay. I know that this is going on. I'm a member of his joint venture community, and I have the capacity to deliver this to you. And I think it would make a solid difference. When that happens, it just gets so much easier. So are there other ways? Sure. You could do a coupon that isn't free. It's a discount. You could just do an interview or a complimentary little teaching piece. So it's not a thing, so to speak, but think of it from the perspective of how do you make your JV partner look good? So Michelle, do you have any clarifications further to that?
Well, I'm not an info marketer.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's your business?
What?
What's your business? That'll help
I
me.
do digital marketing.
One more
Digital
time.
marketing.
Yep.
Okay.
So tell that's a broad umbrella. So
we are a digital marketer, a certified partner.
Yep.
And trying to move into the more sophisticated digital marketing funnels.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So one thing that
So you're an internet marketer. Let's be clear about this.
No. I am a digital marketer. I'm a modern girl.
You have whatever distinction you want. Okay. Carry on.
Yeah. So, and my target market is not coaches and all these kind of.
So who is it?
Local businesses.
What kind of
brick and mortar businesses?
In any particular type of niche?
Yeah. I'll take any, like I have an accountant, locksmith, plumber, lawyer, another accountant, just at the top of my head. So
right.
Yeah, so that's what I mostly do right now. I actually do have quite a big chunk, which are coaches, but I never go after them. They just show up. So.
And what are you doing for these people primarily?
Digital marketing.
Well, so
we
Michelle,
do web development, search engine optimization, AdWords, setting up e-commerce, email marketing, and stuff of that nature.
Okay, that's helpful to me. And what's your objective for this weekend in terms of us getting together and actually trying to build and scale that process through joint ventures?
I want to learn more about joint venture.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of good things about this.
It can be stunning when we get it worked out.
Instead of going down to Phoenix, you came here, so this is a good opportunity to see what it's all about, right? And also, I am thinking about maybe taking a slightly different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I'm thinking about getting into quality assurance of funnels,
mm-hmm.
which I don't think I couldn't find anybody who does that.
Well, I tell you what, with the number of technical issues that can transpire from that, that would be interesting. So you would run a external test on somebody's work to ensure that it does what it's supposed to do.
Yep. It was triggered by, I have a bug for you too, if you want.
Oh, we got a long list. Please send please send to support@mastermindtomillions.com so it gets
just the phone number on the bottom of your emails is not working.
We're in the middle of porting that to a new place. And
but I tried to call today and it doesn't work. So that's
what I said.
There's always a reason, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about that direction because
mm-hmm.
I've seen so many bugs in the last few weeks that it's just unbelievable with really pretty famous people too. So
it's everywhere.
Such as yourself.
It's everywhere. Yeah. There is no question. Yeah.
So one thing, I'm taking you a different direction. What I'd like to do is run people through a quiz,
mm-hmm.
The ask method kind of type of quiz, if you're familiar. The first one,
mm-hmm.
Do you think this would be something that people will agree to run for me just because? You see what I mean? Like I want to understand the need.
Yeah. So no is the short version.
Okay.
So I don't want, for the most part, and I'm gonna answer this broadly, then I'm gonna try and tighten exactly what you're talking about. So when it comes to the market research to find out what is the need and what is the understanding and all of those pieces, for the most part, joint venture partners want you to have that shit done. Like don't come asking for my list for that kind of stuff. Now, that said, if you can develop really great long-term joint venture partnerships and relationships. So for example, our JVology Summit, many of those people, we've been doing stuff together for over 5 years. I have a dear friend, Dr. Andrew Neer, who's testing a free with shipping offer. And he's trying to get a bunch of different markets to get some numbers. And it's like, hey, would you send this to a small section of your list just to get us some numbers? And we're talking like send it to 5,000 people, right? We're not talking about, sending it to the whole poodle. The answer to that question is yes, but that's because we're in a much longer, deeper relationship. But to just go to a cold JV partner and ask that, it will not endear you to them at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's possible, but you're going to have to invest some upfront work in that domain. So may I make a suggestion to you? Because I actually think that the quality control piece is a really interesting offer. Like I actually think that's a really interesting offer. Good Lord. I would love to know in the last 30 days, how many pages, campaigns, and processes that we have created. And Rob, you might have a better idea than I right now, but if we consider all of the Facebook ads, the Facebook communities, the 2 different events, the 2 different live streams, the JV part, like all of those things, is that it would have, he just typed in too many. I'm going to wager in the last 30 days, 130, maybe 150.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. So there is demand, and of those 100, and let's just say it's 130. Of those 130, I would wager 50% have a bug.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would wager. Now, your market here, though, is most likely not me, the end user. Your market is firms that are cranking this stuff out on a consistent basis for people like me to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that the quality control happens. Because I know that Rob has had a couple of snarky conversations with our team in the last little while about other things. But that would be a really interesting marketplace. Now, how to reach them is not likely through a JV arrangement. Like it's probably picking up the phone and trying to target them and say, hey, this is what's going on. Are you a digital agency? Are you having quality control problems? Those kinds of pieces. That would be my approach. But I think it's absolutely saleable because those organizations are cranking shit out like you cannot believe, and at a volume that frankly makes my head spin. But they need external eyes. We all need external eyes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I got you into a corner that you didn't plan to talk about this morning. So
no, but that's the whole point. That's what I love about the conversations is to understand what people are working on and how we can connect and make some introductions and all of those pieces. It would be a very interesting piece. And yeah, I love I'm a huge fan of the Ask method. Ryan has spoken on our stage. Mastermind to Millions Live has been a JV partner of ours for a couple of years. Smart, good guy. Like him.
Yeah. No, I just, me, and you have to compose the you have to compose the quiz.
This is true. Good thing you're a digital marketer.
I'm an engineer. I'm not a writer, I can tell you that.
All right. So here's the thing that I want you just to think about in terms of going broad and then bringing this back in.
Yeah.
Which is this. Of all of your skills, what is the easiest way to endear yourself to potential JV partners? So if you have all of those skills, how do you do that? And I'm going to suggest to you that there's a multitude of ways, everything from templates, all the rest of it. One of the reasons I was asking you about your niche and what your niche was, is that I would wager it's going to be easier for you to JV when you get tighter on your niche. So, and I'm just going to give you one last example, Michelle, before we go to the next questions, which is, so dear friend of mine, client, off and on for like 20 years, they're doing mobile pages, and they started taking regular pages and making them mobile friendly because they, hitting the WordPress mobile friendly thing really doesn't work, right? So that was the beginning of their business. But here's where they are absolutely knocking it out of the park. So they've evolved to, they only serve automotive dealerships, and they serve automotive dealerships in a variety of ways, but one of which is they set up a geofence and they can target and retarget anybody who's been on a car dealer lot in North America for 60 days after they entered the lot. And they both sell the data, set up the campaigns, trigger the campaigns, and otherwise stalk the people who hit a car dealership. And it's a degree of technology that's boggling. But here's the key piece to this, is because of the specificity of their market, guess who one of their greatest JV partners is?
Oh, Ford.
The Automotive Dealer Association.
What?
It's not Ford, because I would only have the Ford dealerships. She's not interested in just the Ford dealerships, because people are shopping against Ford, against Chevy, against, so it's the Automotive Dealer Association.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as the niche is defined of who we really want to serve, the JV partners reveal themselves. But when we're too, if you got a bricks and mortar store, I'll serve you, that gets a little bit harder. Although there are, of course, the Chamber of Commerce's and all those sorts of things in each of the regional areas that you could at least take a run at. But niching and choosing to plant your flag about something is one of the key pieces to making JVs work easily.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Great question, my dear. I really look forward to working more on it this weekend.
I had one more question.
Okay, fire away.
This is completely different. It's related to the JVing with you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest we do with the least overlap? There is a huge overlap, like between Matt, myself, Iman. We all, it's it's the way Vancouver is. Like we all have it. Each one has his own meetup, and we kind of.
It's a little incestuous.
Yeah, and it's kind. It's almost like I rather not send to my list. I know that probably the entire my list is within Matt's list. So it's almost like useless to do or whatever.
I completely disagree.
Okay.
So, and I'm just going to do simple math on this piece. And, and I give you my word, we'll dive into this in much greater depth and detail in the weekend. But here's the high level piece is that our purchases are becoming more and more and more sophisticated. And people do a lot of what I'm going to call bonus shopping. And the better they get at this, the more bonus shopping they do. So here's the reality of it, is that even you as a JV partner, you actually want Matt and Aman to mail, because the truth is only on average, 1 in 10 emails gets opened. So if you have a list, and I'm just going to make up the number, if you have a list of 1,000 people, 100 people open the email. If they have a list of 1,000 people, 100 people open the email. And if Aman has a list of 1,000 people and 100 people open the email, is that if all three of you actually mail in total in terms of the overlap and all those sorts of things, is that we probably reached 250-ish people plus or minus because of the overlap. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, out of those people is that every single time, so if I open Matt's, it's like, oh, I was thinking about going to this silly event. I wonder if I should. I don't know. Who cares? Well, whatever. It's going to be some. And then Aman mails. It's like that, I think he's going to be there. I'd like to connect with him again. That's all well and fine. And then Michelle mails. But each of them has a different incentive. And please do not underestimate my desire to work with you, my desire to connect with you, my desire to do something with you, because you do or offer something that is potentially unique from somebody else. So the truth of the matter is this, is that oftentimes when they're mailing, they're actually marketing on your behalf. And if you can mail with a unique positioning, is that people will come for your unique positioning. And sometimes people just be like, you know what? Aman and Ahmad are doing great. I want to support Michelle. It's just as simple as that. So the list overlap piece, seriously do not worry about it, but also make sure that you're not, what I'm going to call a lazy ass JV partner who's just doing the exact same copy and paste of Swipe. Like give it some of your life, give it some of your perspective, give me a reason to say yes to you. And if you got a couple of bonuses floating around there, all the better.
All right.
Think of it this way. They're working for you in building the awareness because most emails aren't opened.
Okay. Last question. No, very simple. There is a bonus mastermind tomorrow afternoon.
Yes.
It's really weird. Like I got an email that did not have it. Well,
I have no idea what to say about that.
Tina, who's doing Drive Share with me, did get the mastermind. Can you explain?
Don't have a clue. Rob, can you explain? Are you there? So Michelle, were you at Matt's mastermind?
Yep. Yeah. I did. And actually, is this a bonus for the? Yeah. Okay, my credit card did not run the first run because the 7 looked like a 1 or something. So maybe that explains it.
So you might not just be tagged with that because of that reason, but just get your butt there. We're happy to serve and support you. And you were at Matt's. It's all good. All
right. No more questions.
Great. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Same here.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. List overlap. Okay. So we're got time for really one more question. So I have another question. Not sure how to word it. Third party JV, maybe. Bala, I'm coming back to you. You are unmuted. Do you want to just clarify?
Okay, yeah, so here we go. So let's say you know somebody I really want to get in touch with, but there's no way they're ever going to respond to my email. They're too big. They're too busy. But I've got this offer where I can help people get into media, and I'd like to help you as well boost your JVs. So does this get too complicated if I go to you and say, hey, you know what? If you know if people want to get into media, you could make yourself look good by seeing if they would like to work with me. So it's like win, 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 win.
Yep. So there's a couple of ways to do that. So one of which is, and so we have, you know, and I'm just going to say our JV Summit community. So that's that sort of more hand-selected group. There's also another community sort of in between, you know, when people take JVology Live and our Summit community that we call the JV Mastery community. And so there's, if you can become embedded in one of those communities, the truth of the matter is that most of the time, for stuff like that, is that you can just say, hey, would you introduce us? And we would, because it'd be just one of those ways in which we can contribute, right? But if you want to scale that to a consistent revenue stream and really incent, you know, people to go to the mat for you, you can do what's called a 2-tier affiliate system. And what that means is somebody like me who has a strong affiliate network is I may not be your frontline affiliate. I might be a connector for your frontline affiliate, and all of your frontline affiliates, let's just make up, they get paid 40% and I get a 10% override. And by the way, that number could be 5 and 15 or 15 and 30, like this all over the place. But you can actually set up 2-tier affiliate programs in tools like Infusionsoft and those sorts of things. And we have done that, and it's a powerful process.
Got it. Okay. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's very sound, and it is a high leverage activity if you can get to the right people who will go to the mat for you for those instructions, or for those introductions, I mean, instructions.
Awesome, thanks.
You're very welcome. All right. Yes, and Rob has written a great point there as well, which I think is very important. Multiple partners mailing similar emails as Y-Swipe Copy often includes a variety of headlines to choose from. So not every email looks exactly the same. Tweak the headlines and make the emails fit for your personality and your tribe. And nothing is more important than that. Okay, Valentina, working on concept of drag and drop format of self-publishing ebook. Would this be an interesting concept for a JV who has a list that's primarily made of people who bought their courses on course creation? I guess I'm talking about a template. So Valentina, I can tell you for sure that this whole process of producing decent looking downloads and ebooks and all those sorts of things is I think it's probably 80% of work that's done on Fiverr and places like that. So to me, that could absolutely be an interesting concept. The key piece to it is that it wouldn't, to me, just be, you know, for people who bought courses and course creation. It would be much broader than that. It would be about anybody who ever bought lead pages, anybody who ever bought ClickFunnels, any of those people who are attempting to use a lead magnet of some sort to build and scale their list. That would be an ideal JV for it, depending on what the price point is. So I hope that makes good sense. Okay. So gang, those are all great questions. We've got a few minutes left. We're going to be done probably about 10 after here, just in terms of quality of questions and those things. So I want to invite you guys to get yourselves organized a little bit ahead of time. So one of the things that we are doing is in this process is that we are going to teach you guys, and I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes get grumpy about events where it's like, here, we'll tell you what to do, but you don't actually figure out the how to do it. And if you're ever in that spot and it irks you, just give me a hell yeah, so I know we're talking about the same thing. So we want to teach you absolutely what to do, and we want to support you with the how to do it as well. And it's for that reason that we are going to have a little fun during this entire JVology live event. And in that fun is that we're going to hold your hand and step you through every single element that is necessary for you to actually be a great JV partner. And so what that means is this, is that we're going to get you signed up as an affiliate for the Mastermind to Millions live stream. And some of you already are, which is fantastic. We'll teach you how to use it. But if you're not already signed up, we want you to go to this, this page, and I'm just putting it in here, Mastermind. Actually, I thought I had copied and pasted that. Maybe I didn't. There we go. It's mastermindtomillions.com partner, and I just sent it privately instead of to everyone. There we go. Give me a second. And what I'm going to ask each of you to do is to actually go to that site, and I'll show it to you just so you can see it. Why am I talking about it without showing it to you? And this is, by the way, come on, technology, cooperate with me. There we go. And this is just a super simple and basic sign up piece. And you can see it says Mastermind to Millions, fill in all of your pieces, set up your own username and password, give us your PayPal address in terms of getting yourself paid. That's how we automatically do those pieces. And what I want you to do is get that done ahead of the event. And what will occur once we're there is then I'm going to show you, and this is exactly what your question was, Bela, earlier, which is, so which is where and what is how, and we'll show you exactly how to use it. Because one of the most important components of being a great JV partner is knowing where to get the resources, knowing how to customize swipe copy, knowing how to utilize your links, knowing when and where to send it. And we're just going to step through all of it. Now, here's my objective. Is I would like every single one of you in learning not just the what, the how. So I want to take it to the third part. You'll know the what. This is what you need to do. This is how you do it. So you will have an opportunity to actually do it while we're there. And the third part is I want to pay you. So anyone who is engaged in this and we're playing with this, and perhaps you send out an email or two about the Mastermind to Millions Live, which would be brilliant. If somebody says yes to it, then we will pay you in cash right then and there. So regardless of if you don't have to worry about the traditional thing of refunds and those sorts of things. I just want you to enjoy the fun of understanding what this is and making money at the same time, because we really do want you to earn, learn, and have a blast with us while we're going through this. And there's just, to me, no better way of teaching it than actually doing it. You know, Reg, you know that I'm a huge fan of experiential learning. That's what this is based upon. So I'm going to ask each of you to actually do that. And of course, go back if you're interested as well. If you're trying to understand what the program is and all the rest of it, don't worry too much about it, but you can go review the one sheet that we sent you as well. And we'll tackle that process while we get there. Perfect. And we'll get all of those details cleared up in terms of which ones you got, which ones you didn't get, why that transpired, all of those pieces. We'll absolutely take care of it for you. All right, gang. Now, the last thing I want to do is this. If you want to have a little bit of fun with that, is that you can also, so that's the program that we're going to be doing while we are there. Now, if anyone here, by the way, is interested in actually bringing anyone else to the actual JVology event, is that we're going to do exactly the same thing. And if you want to, and I know that you can get 2 sets of emails, all the rest, but you can also sign up for jvology.com/partner. And if you do that, and you can share a link, hell, you can even just get on the phone and invite someone and bring them with you. And if they choose to actually engage and participate, then we will absolutely get you paid immediately. So we want to reward you, and we want you to, how do I put this? Experience the fun and joy of sharing something valuable and making great money. And that's what we want you to do. So if any of you have anyone who's on your brain, it's like, geez, you know what? So-and-so should know this. So-and-so should come to this. So-and-so should meet another, 30, 40, 50, 60 people who are in their arena and want to JV, then for goodness sakes, bring them along and let us know. You can sign up as a partner for it if you like, because even if you're not supporting this one, you could support our January one. But we'd really love for you to have that win right out of the gate. All right. Perfect. Anything else I can answer for you, my friends, before we cut you loose?
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in here, Jay, and say one thing. If you sign up for one of those programs or are already signed up and you want to sign up for a second one, you can register on both pages. That will you'll have to create separate affiliate accounts and codes for it, which isn't ideal because then you've got 2 places to look to keep track of stats. So my request or suggestion to you is this, which is after you sign up for one, if you want to be part of the other, just email us at support@mastermindtomillions.com and say, I would like to be added to the other program. And then we'll go in there and just add it to the existing affiliate account so that it's all in one place for you.
Brilliant. Love that. And that makes life a whole bunch easier. And I think, Balia, just to let you know, is that if you signed up for multiple programs, is that one can stop the other in terms of email. So what Rob is suggesting is just really great for anyone else who wants to just learn how to play with this and see how that whole stuff gets set up. So on that note, gang, I just want to say thank you for the questions. I want to thank you for the quality of the conversation. Really appreciate connecting with each of you. Get your butt to the event. And Reg, I know you were saying that you're having trouble with the rooms, but you know what? Like, even try a B&B, because with what you're building, we'd love to get you in there ASAP. So have a great day, gang. We will see you shortly. And thank you, Bela. I feel like there should be a little French flit in there somehow. All right, gang. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.